Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase. Today is episode number 34 of our speed builds. So this one is a marvel. Yes, the mid-century modern marvel. I know, say that 3 times fast, right? So I thought of something that would be a little more fun and exciting in the mid-century kind of area of what I was thinking in my journey of creating mid-century modern houses and sort of houses in the 50s. And so now we have the mid-century modern marvel. So this one actually has like nice amount of bedrooms. It's got a little basement going on. It is on one whole level, but it does have like the little walkout basement on the side. I really wanted to kind of do that. And it's got like higher peak roofs and just a lot going on. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. I had actually got some feedback from my mid-century modern mansion house, and people are like, this isn't mid-century modern because it's got multiple levels. And I'm like, yes, because it's a mansion. And there were people back in the day that did have money. And so I was like, what would those houses look like if you took the mid-century modern idea and morphed it into a mansion? So now I went and shrunk the idea down, consolidated everything down into the sort of mid-century modern as it was sort of designed. And so I hope you guys like it, and I look forward to your feedback. Thanks again so much for tuning in. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below. And as always, stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And let's go ahead and dive into this mid-century modern marvel. Now, the mid-century modern marvel. I am so stoked for you guys to see this one. I kind of wanted to redeem myself a little bit from the mid-century modern mansion. Because there's some people who's like, well, it's technically not a mid-century modern house because it's got more than one floor. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine and all. Like, I could definitely do that. But I was just trying to make like a giant house with a lot of mid-century modern rooms and to kind of morph the concept a little bit into a mansion. So if somebody had the gazillions of dollars back then to afford a mansion, you know, I know maybe it would have been a really modern, sleek house or something, but what if you just wanted something that was a little more mid-century modern? So that's why I did that one. And now I just wanted to kind of, you know, bring that up another level and think of something, you know, like, hey, well, I know of these houses that are like, you know, one floor, sort of like sunken down a little bit, and that has a garage underneath, like for like the sort of the basement thing. And I wanted to still like make sure to incorporate like, you know, the platform so that you've got your sort of tiered levels or split level design a little bit. And then I wanted to just pull in as many of the sort of mid-century modern things that I thought that I think exist in the gallery that I think would apply from our like collection of everything, and sort of what would apply to this sort of design concept. And so that's kind of what I went with here, and I hope you guys like it. So at first, it didn't really take me that long to do it. It just took me a bit to kind of decide what was going to go in this, because it's a small house, small plan. I tend to do the really big, bougie, large, time-consuming builds. And so I'm like, wow, okay, so what would take me you know, a week to build something really huge and amazing has led me to be able to build like 3 houses in that time and do the videos for them. So I'm like, this is neat. I definitely get why people do the smaller houses, but that's just like, it's a big constraint for myself, you know, to really pull myself back. So I really like being able to have this option right now, but like later on, I'll probably start building more like bigger again. And I'm already working on a lodge, actually, that is what I'm calling the Holiday Tree Lodge. And actually the Holiday Tree Farm Lodge. Yes. So it's a Holiday Tree Farm Lodge. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. I think it's coming together really well, and I'm really excited for it because it's kind of going back to my building big again. And I am using a lot more like the debug options and stuff to build like a really fun design from like sort of like the lodges and things that I've seen here in the Midwest. And so, kind of for like my last little bit here on this series, I wanted to just make sure that I was really just kind of bring in like some of the touches that I kind of remember through my life. And then when I wanted to go and pivot into like the holiday stuff, I'm like, ooh, now it's going to be really fun to kind of do a throwback to some of the holiday things that I know, remember, and appreciate from my life. And to kind of give you guys like a little bit of like a little scoop, a sample of like what we have here going on. Because I think it's so fun to learn about so many other people's things and kind of what they've got going on in their part of the world, because we're all different and we all have different cultures and different things going on. So it's just been really fun to kind of learn about everybody's kind of ideas, or like how they decorate or what they do or how they celebrate. And it's just been really fun to kind of, just learn other people. So and their like aspirations and sort of ideas. And then also kind of learn through design. We so much of like what makes us who we are, we express through design, because this is kind of what we know, or what has shaped us in our life. And so it's been neat to really learn other people just and like more about them just through how they express themselves in building in The Sims. So that's kind of like what I'm really glad to do with you guys as well. And so now I'm kind of coming out here and just filling in all the little bits of the exterior. And it took me a little bit to kind of decide how I wanted to go with some of like the curb and how I wanted to do everything and make it, because on this design, I really thought it would be fun to do like the two-tone look and make it just a little bit more different than what you tend to see in the gallery and that kind of stuff. And I really wanted to make sure that the patio area just had a really fun vibe. And so I hope you guys like enjoy that and kind of have use out of it, because a lot of times I end up making things that are kind of big and then it's just so much to use that it's like, whoa, where do I start? So this house is kind of like more of that way. So now you can kind of see like what the outside looked like in the dark. And then this kitchen was big. Like I was like, I'm gonna take out this whole area just for the kitchen. Like I knew as soon as I like did my lines and chunked out my plan, I'm like, this is where the kitchen's going, definitely 100%. And so it was really fun. And I always have this thing about like wanting to put the kitchen sink like in the middle of the window, because that's like all the houses I grew up in and around like had like a really like big window over the kitchen so that you could kind of see out in the back. And then now I love that we can actually like clutter and fill these like all these shelves and stuff now. So like I've been like populating tons of things and just like, oh, what could I put here? What could I put there? So once the lighting and stuff goes in, you guys will really see like all the detail of the things that are in here. But there's a lot of stuff. There's like a lot of clutter within all those cabinets, and it's just fun to be able to have that. And then I really wanted like a really fun shop area. And then I was trying to play with like that tool, like the mod tool. And I just was like, oh, I'm not the best with geometry. And I understand the axis a lot. However, like when I was doing it, it was just like turning out really wonky, and I couldn't get it to spin very well. Like it just wasn't. The only thing I could do was just type in the amount of degrees to flip it. Like I don't know how to actually go and really juggle the thing like easily. So I ended up giving up on that. But like I hope to someday like do another build that I can use that sort of thing, because I'm trying to learn it for my lodge, because I want to do some really fun gables with the decorative wood pieces. But it's a little tricky because I've got to like really think about the angles, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. So now I'm just kind of getting all this like stuff in for the shop area and kind of what I think makes really good sense for a shop. And so I was thinking of like the beadboard stuff. Like you're going to want to have a lot of area for like decorations and stuff like that. But like for instance, I wanted to put a hammer on that beadboard stuff, and I was just like, could not figure out how to get the hammer to look right on it. And so I'm like, nah, this takes a lot of time that I just can't muster right now on this build. But I'm hoping someday to like figure it out. So if anybody has a really good tutorial video to recommend on Tool, specifically on how to like rotate stuff to make it look like more legit, I would gratefully appreciate it. So now I'm just getting the raised flower beds again with this sort of design and this like chunk of houses I'm doing to to kind of reflect the 50s and 70s. I really wanted to kind of make sure that it all had that sort of like genuine feature of like the raised flower beds, that kind of stuff. I really love them, and I think it's a lot easier to take care of them and remember to when, you know, and they're up there, and then they don't get as unruly because, you know, they don't have a lot of space to go, and then you can see them right out your window. So I ended up doing like, because I had this extra little space over here, and I'm like, what do I use this for? And then I was like, I know, I'm gonna make like a little planter fountain. So like any of the excess that would like flop off of the fountain, it'll then like populate your flowers. So I'm like, this might be a good idea. So then if it leaks, it's just gonna leak onto your flowers that collect the water and, you know, kind of live. So I made my own little custom, you know, fountain here with just a couple of the fountain elements, and then, you know, kind of put in this little planter thing. But you could, like, if you were building a mall or a shopping area, or you were building like a public plaza as well, you could do that, and then maybe put some benches around it if you wanted as well, and give yourself like a nice little like community space area, like seating area that looks very communal or like commercial. So that's kind of like an idea that I have as well for that. And so now it is just me like bringing in the last of the little elements on the outside. I really wanted to spend a lot of time to make sure these landscaping, because since the houses are smaller, I want to make sure the landscaping really called home and was really like on it. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this piece and, you know, kind of bring these elements in. And then I was having a little bit of issue with those lights. It was super goofy, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like really, because every time I kept like trying to pivot it tadly, then like something would happen or whatever, and it would go too much. And I was like, but at the same point, it was just like popping through the wall, so I had to fix that. And then I did like those living edge sort of shelves to kind of give it like a little bit of pop and difference on the other side. And then I decided to go with like the more like aqua looking or like teal looking tile. And then I made the cabinets kind of make that color flow through the wall on the other side. And I thought that that might be fun, like even in real life, to try like with the house someday, because I just think that's kind of a fun little design element to make it look bigger and kind of carry your eye all the way around the space. And you know kind of what direction to look at. Once you're looking at the cabinets, you just keep looking over and you're like, wow. So now I'm bringing in our rocking chairs. I love it. And then like, of course, our little hanging pot of plants like usual. Yep, those are a good standby. And now I'm just coming in, chunking out my bedroom floor up here. And the reason this is why it's called the marble, because this part up here is actually just in the like sort of the roof, and like where it peaks up. So it's just like kind of, you know, chunked in here and a little bit on the side, just to give you like a little bit more extra space, so that, you know, we can have a decent amount of living space and that kind of thing. Because in The Sims, like, you really have to have a lot more room to be able to get around than like what you would in real life. So you can't like super clutter your room or it won't even be functional. So, which probably should be in real life too, but you know, it's like, I don't ever think there'll be a hoarder's expansion pack for The Sims necessarily where you can, you know, totally load up your room. Because that'd be really hilarious if like somehow they like went down even further on our grid to where they could get even like to squeeze by things. Because then I could see a whole new world of clutter. And like all those challenges, like there'd be a challenge, like a hoarder challenge or something. And so I love doing like the pendants next to the bed and sconces, or one or the other, but I always try and do some sort of lighting there because I just feel like that gives it more detail, and it really kind of gives it that top shelf level sort of design. And with this house, I just wanted to make sure that like the basement was really usable and workable and made sense. So I was thinking of like a really big in-law quarters with plenty of closet space, giving it a lot of extra detail in space that would otherwise go unused, or people wouldn't even come down here and do a basement. But I just thought it'd be really important in this sort of house, because I was thinking like that 70s show, or I was thinking the Brady Bunch, and they have like, you know, the like second floor technically, and then they have like the basement where like Alice's room is and stuff, or you have like in the Brady Bunch, or you have, you know, the all these other shows that tend to use the mid-century modern houses, or what seem to be, but then all of a sudden they have like a basement, like that 70s show as well. So I'm just like, oh, I need to do something like that. I want to. And so I just kind of did a lot of modern sort of family features down there, just to give it like a really fun use, and to give it like a whole new like set of stuff, because I just felt like everything up in the upper level was so small, and I kind of broke the rule a little bit on myself, and like couldn't constrain myself. I just needed to build 5 bedrooms, you know, or like 6 bedrooms. So I was like, this just has to happen. I want to do this. So I was thinking of even like, if somebody wanted to use this as like a fraternity or sorority, or like a college house or something like that too, might work, because there's just so much space for a lot of different Sims that everybody could, you know, have their own room, and you could use this as a rental, or like for a big family, or like a blended family. Say if you've got like aunt and uncles living together, or like grandma's also living there too, and it's like a 3 generational family. And now I just kind of like come in with a lot of like little finishing elements here, and just I wanted to give a lot of color and unique personality in some of these rooms, and kind of try some things that I hadn't in a while, or before really, because I generally end up kind of steering away from a lot of bold color, but in this one I did. And so now you're seeing the spin around, kind of the final kind of bit here, and you'll see the little bit of walk through that I did. There's our kitchen, the bedrooms, and sort of like all the different areas of the house, and then the just in general, like all the spaces and things that I just was really glad to kind of have the opportunity to make. So here's the gallery, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, stay proud, go out and do something magical, and until next time, have a great day. Thank you.